Visit No One Likes Us Clothing for all your Millwall clobber. www.noonelikesus.co.uk. Achtung, Millwall.
Hello, dear listeners. This is all new, isn't it? This is Nick Hart speaking. A bit of a tryout, an Achtung test space, broadcasting live to the world. Neil and I have just been talking about spaces on Twitter, which apparently is this kind of live broadcasting malarkey. So I thought we'd give it a quick go. I'm just waiting for Neil to join the call. I've done no research into this whatsoever, and it's all very new. It's a bit of a wonder of the internet, isn't it? Wow, look at this. There's loads. There's Matt Richards. There's Terry. There's Incumbent Lion. Mute everyone. Yes. So we've done very little in the way of research to to produce any kind of show. But I thought it'd be worth giving it a go and trying to give this a try and see if there's anything that we can do pre-match or post-match. I'm just trying to unmute Neil at the moment. I want to unmute him. I'm going to unmute. Oh dear, what a carry on! And it's all done live, and there's loads of people listening to me. Oh dear, this is very very embarrassing. Hello, I've got you, Neil. How about that, mate?
Hey, the mod.
This is a test call, listeners. We've got a bunch of people listening to. I'm speaking to nobody, and I've somehow muted Neil, and now I've got him unmuted. So this is fantastic. Welcome to the show, Neil.
Yeah, no, well, we've got some rugby fans in Gorton. We're listening to Millwall Boomers try and work the internet.
Well, I mean, not only that, it's the first time I've ever pressed these buttons, and I thought, well, the whole thing. You do a test call, and suddenly you got like about 12 people listening to us. It's all very, very weird. So Neil and I, the reason we're doing this, listeners, Neil and I got to weigh up whether we can do a live show, which has not been a good start so far, to be absolutely honest. As a kind of a tryout for our Friday something for the weekend format, and we're probably going to do it on Thursday. This is very much dipping our toe into the water, Neil, isn't it? I mean, blimey, it's a bit scary.
Yeah, we're going to balls this up a few times, aren't we, before we get anywhere?
Well, absolutely.
As poor as we normally put out.
I mean, I don't know. I was a request here. What's this request? Richard Tomlin. Richard, you're requesting, so I presume that means you want to speak. So, how does a speaker? That's how it works. Richard, can you hear us? Talk to us.
How you doing?
I'm good, mate. This is like being given a toy as a kid and not knowing what you're doing. How are you, mate? Thanks for joining this test call. It's meant to be just Neil and I talking to each other, but I didn't realise people would come in wanting to talk to us. But welcome,
dear listeners. Welcome.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you go Saturday, mate?
We did. Much marked improvement.
Yeah.
Still not sure though. He knows what he's doing.
Well, there's a question.
I think he probably knows what he wants to do, but does he know what he's doing? Going to 4-4-2 is probably another thing, isn't he?
I wonder. I mean, we've said this a few times on the shows, Richard. Whether he's been kind of dragged into this formation change, hasn't he? The four-man defence. It's like he hasn't done it willingly. He keeps talking about 5-3-2, 3-5-2, whatever the variation of it is, and he keeps talking about wanting to go back to that in the interviews. And I think we said it last week, Neil, didn't we? That if you don't believe in something, you stick with it. I don't know. So I'm also trying to negotiate the command module of this thing called Twitter Spaces, which I've never seen before in my life, listeners. And you seem to press buttons on it, and it does the reverse of what you expect it to do. It's like having anyone remember Captain Scarlet? He used to have a car that they had the steering wheel located the wrong way round, and he drove off of a TV screen.
This is brilliant. This is brilliant, chaps. I love this. It's just absolute chaos. It's brilliant.
I can't lend my name to this kind of production, listeners. This is like doing my professional. What little reputation I have is doing it in. It's
Yeah, well, this is like having Scott Malone in central defence. Sorry, Scott, if you're listening, mate. I know you're.
Show a little positivity. We've got people wanting to speak to us. This is fascinating, listeners. I'm gonna go to Derby. Oh, Derby from America. I'm gonna try Derby out.
Oh, amazing!
Let's see what Derby. Are you there? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
You can hear me. Hey, all the way from Houston, Texas.
Yep.
Wow, this is fantastic. This is the first time we've used such a thing as a Twitter space, so I've never come across it before, and I'm not sure I will again, Darby. So make the most of this opportunity to speak live to us. How are you? How are you, darling? You good?
I'm doing really, really well.
Well,
yeah. MLS is off to the playoffs, and Houston is out as normal. I think we finished bottom of the Western Conference again.
Right.
And so I'm just keeping up with Millwall.
That's a very Millwall season, actually. For I forget the name, the Houston the
Dynamo,
the Houston Dynamos. So yeah, very very Millwall season out there. This is wonderful stuff. There's other people wanting to talk to us. I'm going to try Monty Phillips' dad, Lawyer Lion. This is interesting. Excuse me a second, Darby. I'm going to go to Monty Phillips' dad now and see what he wants to say. I'm not sure I'm cut out for this kind of live radio. It's very stressful, listeners. I take my hat off to Aaron Paul, who does this for a living. I mean, he's got a producer that filters people coming through. So I'm sure we're going to get some right lunatics coming on the call.
Actually, could I ask Darby if he remembers Adrian Siriu, because he had a couple of spells at Houston Dynamo.
Did he? I didn't know that. Adrian Siriu.
Yeah,
remember him, Darby? He used to have a very long throw. He was able to throw the ball in alternate lengths, and famously one from. It was inside the Mill half. He threw against Leicester, I think, wasn't it, Lou? He threw the ball into the Leicester penalty area from inside our own half.
It wasn't quite inside his own half, but he actually created chaos, and we actually won the game 1-0. I think it was Dennis Wise scored, was it? From that throw.
Can't remember.
Created absolute havoc in the middle of the penalty area, and somebody put it in. Yeah, no, but Adrian Siriu had two.
Remember him, Darby?
Houston Dynamo.
Remember Adrian Siriu?
I do not remember him as a player, and I don't think he was at Houston. I think he was in Dallas.
Right, there we are.
No, he was also in Houston, March 2006. And in 2010, according to the Millwall Who's
Which is the Bible.
Yeah.
Which is available on Amazon.
The Bible of...
Right, so I see that now. And he was a little before my time. But I will say we've actually got, I can't recall his name right now, but we have a member of our staff right now that was Millwall.
Really?
At one point. I'm going to have to go figure that out.
Yeah, so am I. Yeah, well, I'm about to have a look.
But you can't tease us with that, Darby, and then not say, then not drop the name.
I'm looking.
I'm going to re-invite Monty Phillips' dad, because he's been hanging on. Lawyer Lion, can you hear us? Monty Phillips' dad, are you out there, mate? Hello, Monty Phillips' dad.
I know, what a ridiculous name.
Yeah.
I mean, is this going to be Nick? Is this going to be a regular thing? I mean, it's so successful.
My nerves are shot already. Is it Monty?
It's David, actually. It's
David.
Yeah.
My nerves are shot through David at the moment because I don't know what I'm doing. Neil and I set out just to do a test call to see how this thing works.
Right.
And it's
thrown a bit.
Well,
we've created chaos.
You're hearing the consequences of it right now. So I've got no notes. I've got the laptop in front of me, but every time we introduce
it's all on the hoof then.
On the very.
What about this thing about Rowett going to West Brom? Have you seen that kind of?
Yeah. Harry Warren has said he'll run him up there. Apparently he's got.
Yeah, well, Harry Warren is actually stalking outside where he lives, so we can actually drive him up there. The second.
Does this story have any basis in any kind of facts, or is it just like a?
I have heard, and of course this is one of these classic, I've heard where from.
Yeah.
But I have heard that he was apparently interested in the job over the summer.
Right.
Or yes, there was some route, or maybe last year before Bruce got the job.
Right.
Partly because of the fact that he lives in the Midlands, doesn't he? Or his
family.
Yeah,
they're all up there. Yeah.
Yeah, no, his family haven't actually moved down here. There was actually some speculation that his agent had touted into, I think it was Sunderland,
right,
last year as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
maybe that's where it comes from. But I mean, he's now been with us. Is it exactly 3 years? It's coming up to the third
October 2019. He joined us, so it will be
pretty much
3 years. And I suppose it's one of those internet style rumours that no one can actually find any basis for it, other than the fact it all adds up and two and two would make 4.
I think it was in the Daily Mirror yesterday.
Was it?
I think it originally started in the Mirror.
Right.
Yeah.
And then those clickbait websites have picked up on it, and
it's strange. I mean, obviously Harry's gone round to the petrol station, spent £100 on petrol to take him up the M1. I don't know. I mean, it's a few people have said over time, would we get any better? I don't know. For myself, I don't actually have. I don't have strong feelings about Gary Rowett. I don't know if any of the listeners out there do as well. Certainly, the football has become at times very dull this season, particularly. But overall, in the 3 years, it's got progressively duller and duller and duller. It started off okay, didn't it? But it's gone.
Yeah, but I think the problem for most fans, including myself, is that we had high hopes in the summer. He bought well, good squad, better quality. And so far, admittedly, it's only after 13 games, and there's a long way to go.
Yeah.
I've just underachieved, and I think a lot of fans had, when we first got back into the Championship, what was it, 5 seasons ago? Everyone was fairly sort of relaxed and understood that the aim was to stay in the Championship, and the sort of football we served up was secondary because survival was everything. The board have backed him, given him a lot of money, and I think people now expect more. And the football, frankly, this season has not been very entertaining. And I think in many of your podcasts, Nick, you've said you've come away thinking, I'm not really very excited by this, even if we've won.
No,
and that's the problem, I think.
I'm going to invite Harry to come. I'm going to invite Harry.
Gary Rowett's best friend.
Gary Rowett's best friend.
To be honest, I think our expectations have been raised, and that Gary Rowett, to a certain extent, is a victim of his own success. That for the last couple of seasons we have finished quite high in the league, and that's built some kind of hope in the amongst the supporters, really, isn't it? Amongst us all, and then as soon as you start to recruit. And you start to recruit well in the summer, you start to think that, oh Christ, it's on here, and then you get drawn into it, don't you?
That's the Millwall way, isn't it? I mean, we always get our hopes up in the summer. It's all going to be fantastic. Everyone goes to the Den. It's nice and sunny in August. We beat Stoke 2-0, and then it's downhill from there.
Well, that's the Millwall way, Dave, isn't it?
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I've seen nothing.
He's in.
Is he in? Is he?
I'm moved.
Serious.
This is far too young for me, Nick. What are we doing here? This is where the other place speaks.
This is organised chaos, and this is Nick's idea. It was just my idea to do it now.
I actually set out. I was the idea of this, just to be upfront for everybody listening to this chaotic thing, is that I thought it might be nice to have other speakers come on when Neil and I do our Friday show, if we did it in the evening. To do that, and then maybe have the odd person coming making intelligent points, like Dave's done here actually. Only it's the first time I've ever touched this command kind of module thing that I'm looking at. Really, listeners don't know what I'm doing, and it's all live. Martin Tyler apparently is coach at Dartford FC, the Sky commentator. He coaches at Dartford FC, but as he would say, it's totally live.
Does he really coach at Dartford?
Yeah, there was a picture of. I follow Dartford FC because I do the non-league stuff. So He was there as like an assistant to the manager. I can't remember the manager's name at Dartford, but he's like assistant manager, coach, whatever you want. So, and this is it. It's live. Anyway, Harry, the question arises about Gary Rowett, and Dave's asked about the rumours that he might be interested in the West Bromwich Albion job. Whether they are interested in him is the open question.
I think his agent is interested in him getting the West Bromwich Albion job.
I mean, on a Midlands tour, I mean, it's one of the stops he hasn't been to, isn't it? I mean,
I said you've spent £100 of petrol filling up your car, ready to run him up there.
Yeah, I'd drive him there tomorrow. I'll drive him there now. It's not. If he does go, we win. Let's be honest. There are better managers than the one we have now out of work. Whether or not we can afford them is another question. But if we're purely looking at this person doesn't have a job, we have a manager that could leave and go somewhere else.
Achtung, Millwall.
Jimmy Nielsen. She just posted a message saying it's Jimmy Nielsen. I don't think did he. I'm not sure he ever played for the first team, did he?
I'd have to look up the book.
Yeah, but luckily as I wrote it, I can tell you, I don't think he did. I don't think
no appearances.
Yeah, no appearances. Yeah, no.
Well, goalkeeper.
Gary Rowett. Let's talk about him because a lot of people have tuned in and expecting something out of us. I don't know if these rumours to West Brom hold any water. Some out there would love the idea of. I mean, Harry's on the call at the moment with us. And Harry, you've never been a fan of Gary Rowett, so I think there's quite a few around the Mill scene that would fall into your camp. Personally, I'm quite ambivalent about him. Really, I neither care about him one way or the other, as long as the football is entertaining. Now, that's the thing that's gone down the pan, in my opinion. And if he were to go, would you care? I probably wouldn't care very much, which maybe sends a message. I don't know.
If Millwall isn't anything, Millwall is nothing without emotion. Like the club thrives on the emotion. So the fact that you feel nothing, for me, is damning in itself.
Yeah, well, but then I'd say that about a lot of management in the past. I liked Kenny Jackett. He somehow felt part of this nebulous thing called the Millwall family. To some extent, obviously Neil Harris is a club legend, so he occupies a very special place anyway. Although by the end, when the football was going down the pan, he was taking quite a bit of abuse himself. Same as in their time, Rhino and Macca did as well towards the end of their time. Mark McGee, I think I put Gary Rowett in a kind of a Mark McGee category, although Mark McGee achieved success in that
that
fleeting word. I mean, that is that McGee, when he went, did I care about it? Not really. I
think the thing is with like Gary Rowett. Sorry, it's like. Me personally, but it's a bit of a divide with him and like the fans. He does get results, but he doesn't know how to get the fans on board. He doesn't know how to bring the fans as our 12th man. Like with Jackett, with Harris, but they knew how to bring the fans on board. And I think that's the biggest thing with Rowett is yes, I personally think he's a good manager, he's a good championship manager, but he doesn't. There's no emotional attachment with Gary Rowett because he doesn't. He talks rubbish sometimes. Yep. We all know. And he just doesn't bring the fans on board. Yeah, he does talk rubbish a lot, 100%, Harry. I don't know. In like my opinion is I do think he's a good manager. Don't get me wrong. I think he's done quite well for our club, but he doesn't understand our club. I've said this from day one. He doesn't like last year when we played Stoke and he was on about it's chaos. We love chaos. Like you know.
Well,
we want chaos.
Yeah, we want more of what you're doing right now, like the little live show. We love chaos as Millwall fans, and he just doesn't understand that. And in my opinion, if we had another manager who was the same, same sort of tactics as him, I don't think it's for tactics. I think if we have the same sort of manager as him, but just understood the club, I do think we can unleash this team and just do really well in the league. I think we could be up there in the top 6. It's just he doesn't understand the club. That's my biggest thing about it.
Here's a question for everyone. I've got a question for everyone listening to this show, actually, and certainly those that I've managed to somehow allow to speak. We keep talking about unleashing this team. Is there an attacking side? What formation would we send this team out now? We've got the likes of Zian Fleming, we've got Tyler Bury, we've got Andreas Vogel-Sammer up front. Do we have a basis for an attacking side, or are we really just talking about four-man defence like we had on Saturday? And business as it is continuation from Saturday's approach, if that makes any sense.
I think part of his problem is that because he's recruited players for the formation that he wanted to play, we're short on a winger. So he has to play. So he has to play Vogel-Sammer out wide when he's going to be far better in the middle. I would quite like to see him play two up front and then maybe play Fleming or even Bury in behind. Might that work a little bit more? Because, but it's quite obvious if you watch the games, Vogel-Sammer is absolutely wasted out on the wing.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think he's number 9. He's always played in the number 9 position in the German leagues. I think he's tall enough, he's strong enough to get the flick-ons, get the knockdowns. I think he'd be a perfect number 9 for us. He could complement Bradshaw, Afobe, anyone up front quite well. But I don't know. It's just
he's very strong. He's a very strong player. You can see that, and I just think that putting him out wide, it's square pegs for round holes situation, which has been something that Rowett has done quite regularly with this side.
Can I just make a point that this is his doing. He has created this problem for himself, because anyone could see that when Jeb Wallace went, there was only one real, and letting Conor Mahoney leave at the same time, regardless that Conor Mahoney, in my opinion, wasn't good enough, it still left you with no player out wide right. Also, the fact you're relying on Mason Bennett, who's basically a plaster of Paris when it comes to injuries. If he plays more than 60 minutes in a week, you've had a good week out of him. So, if you're expecting him to be part of your forward line, it's stupid. You are harsh.
It's true, though.
60 minutes, what he does in those 60 minutes, he's a very good football player. If he could stay fit all the time, he would not be at Millwall Football Club. That is a simple thing.
That's definitely right.
Yeah, well, I do actually agree with that, I must admit.
When he's good, he's brilliant, right? And he kind of gets a little bit of us. He gets a bit of needle every now and then, and you can really see it, because there's not a lot of people that are like that in the team. But Gary Rowett on transfer deadline day decided, what do I need? I need another left back so I can have 3 of them, so I can play for. And I end up now pushing Stoles, who was voted top 20 under 20. Last season,
more of a midfield player, though.
We'll move him into centre midfield. It's fucking madness. It's linking back to what you're saying about square pegs, round holes. That's what he does. He has been his best results at the club have been when he has had less. When we give him more, he is a worse manager, which is absolutely ridiculous. But the results speak for themselves when it comes to that. The problem that I have with it is that teams have worked us out, the 5 at the back, and we've not been particularly great this season at defending, as we all know. And when we look to go forward, he's limited by the limitations of the squad in terms of we don't have anyone to play out on the right-hand side. So it is what it's going to be. The problem is hopefully, if we don't have Gary Rowett in charge, the next manager will inherit that problem. But maybe he'll change formation. That manager will change formation to suit.
But Harry, that's good. But are there candidates out there, really realistic ones, who are going to be improvement on Gary Rowett?
I do think there is. Yeah.
Who would you?
Let's have some names, boys.
Let's have some. Yeah, because I'm struggling a bit.
Well, I think down here, very highly rated Stephen Schumacher. Yeah. Down here in Plymouth, has done quite fantastic things with Plymouth Argyle. Yeah. Liam Manning is another one I think has been mentioned at MK Dons.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Schumacher he has done wonders down. He was like the Callum Davidson to Gary Rowett when Yeah, when Ryan Lowe.
Yeah.
I mean,
but he wouldn't realistically come, though, would he, Neil? I mean, Plymouth are flying; they're top of the league. Would he? I mean, it's not realistic to expect somebody like Stephen Schumacher to leave a team like Plymouth, who are going great guns. And
mate, have you ever been to Plymouth?
It's a job.
I wasn't there. I wasn't there very long though.
I think it's been proven with the guy from Forest Green who went to Watford.
Rob Edwards,
Yeah, will literally jump at a job at the Championship because you're 46 games away from the big time, and once you've got a team promoted from the Championship into the Premier League, you get on that cycle of managers who are just hired regardless of how badly they did in their last job.
The one
Bilic
thing
comes to mind, so does Karanka. Who's the other guy who's just gone? Marco Silva was terrible at times. Still got a job, all right, doing well now, but has had bad times in his career. I generally think that Chris Wilder, and I know that Wilder has been damaged by Middlesbrough, and I do think we're put through the whole scenario that I generally believe that he is the type of manager that we should be looking at. Whether he wants to come to Millwall, I don't know. But I would say that he's not going to be in that top tier of people who are out of work now because of what happened at Middlesbrough. And, I think what he done at Sheffield United, what he done at Northampton speaks for itself. Yes, he got relegated with Sheffield United. I think he was asked to get sacked, to be fair. But it is what it is, and it's a
question. OHEs. I mean, we've said loads of times, so there's nothing new in this point. Millwall and John Berylson. Let's be specific. I'm not sacking. It's not a sacking club. I mean, you have to be really driven to it on an Ian Holloway style level. And we're talking about fairly extreme, very toxic situations like that. I don't think John Berylson, who seems to value loyalty very, very highly, both he asks it and I think for the most part he gets it from his managers, certainly to date. It will also be an expensive project to get rid of Gary Rowett. He's not long signed a new contract. Who knows what's in there in terms of payday if the club want to get rid of him. So there's also the financial aspect that Millwall will not want to be spending. So unless Gary Rowett presents us with a fait accompli and says, right, my agent's got me a brilliant job at West Brom, thanks a lot.
Let's hope.
Harry's going to run me up the M1.
Yeah, well, I know we mentioned Schumacher. The one thing the chairman Hallett said down here, because I think he was linked with Sheffield Wednesday the other week, was that he can make mistakes, and he is very much a manager. I think he took over in December.
Right.
So he's within his first year.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of manager I think we ought to be looking at rather than somebody like Wilder, because Wilder, let's face it, he was given some money to spend, although he did actually bring a lot of money in at Middlesbrough, didn't he? Didn't they sell £25 million worth of players in the summer?
Yeah. And they were as close as we were last season, weren't they? They had a chance on the last day as well. And I just think maybe.
Yeah, but would he want too much? Would he want more in the way of resources that we're willing to give?
Well, didn't you say the rumours about Wilder at Middlesbrough were that he was wanting more resources now? I mean, I don't know how much truth we can put on that.
Yeah, I think so. I think I was listening to Jordan and White on Talk Sport, and I think they mentioned it on there.
Wanting money. I mean, if anyone that wants money, they're going to come to the wrong club at Millwall, aren't they? I mean, that's
yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah. When you spend the money that we spend on shit, yeah, I suppose there's not really a lot left to go around, is there?
Yeah, but we're a project, aren't we?
Yeah,
we seem to be a project.
Every time George Evans comes on, I think about the £5,000 a week minimum that is in wages and what that's worth compared to one of the under-21s being attached to the first team squad. But let's moan about the budgets. Let's not address the
every manager wastes money. Let's be honest.
Do we think we need a better number 2 than Adam Barrett? Very defensive setup.
I think the support, the backroom staff, the coaching. I mean, how many times have we said on our show, Neil and Harry, about defensive-minded coaching, and we're not looking good going forwards. We need that kind of thing. So I don't know enough about Adam Barrett. He seems like a very pleasant bloke. The only time I've ever met him, but I'm not sure you want so many.
We need an attacking brain on there. Yeah, but that is evident that everybody on there, Rowett was a defender, Paul Robinson was a defender, Adam Barrett was a defender, and then if you look at the other Paul Robinson was a defender. I think the only attacker on the coaching staff is Kevin Nugent, who was a striker with Orient and Plymouth and one or two other clubs. But they definitely need some kind of attacking.
So attacking nous of some sort.
Yeah.
Which is where we're falling short. Yeah.
So would we not step up Kevin Nugent with what he's doing with the under-23s at the moment? They're flying.
Kevin Nugent, just to put this into the mix, will be the very Millwall option. Not only because he's doing well with the under-21s, he'd be very cheap as well.
I'll tell you what.
The quick save manager.
So I can tell you now.
Was to go.
Yeah.
I would not be against giving Kevin Nugent the job at least until the World Cup, at least till you have a few weeks to look. Because by the looks of things, that under-21 play a really nice style of football.
Yeah.
And he's got some very good young players in there.
And a very different style of football to what we've seen in the first team. I mean, they were much more creative on the ball. With the little bit I saw the other day, Neil, when we were watching the YouTube feed, it's the only time I've seen the under-21s, but they do try and play the ball around, and it just felt different to what we've seen so far this season, particularly from the first team. So it's quite odd to have a marked contrast in approach between the 21s and the first team, because you'd think they would link in more. But
Mr. AP is trying to have permission to speak.
I've invited him. I've invited him.
Invite him again.
The reason I invited Aaron is because I thought we did need a bit of professional help.
When he was sitting in for Eddie Nesta, and he had a crazed lunatic call him, and I'd been obviously back in the day when we done the Love Sport thing.
Yeah,
we'd have the Aaron sitting across the desk from you, and you get when you had a call that no one knew, just you see the look of fear that this is live radio and it can go badly wrong.
I'll tell you what,
especially at Millwall.
Yeah, absolutely.
Always admired Aaron because it's live radio. This is live radio in a sense.
Get him on.
I've asked him. I've got an invite outstanding. I've asked it. I've sent it again. So I'm hoping that we'll get Aaron on because he'll bring some professional kind of quality to it. Because there are times when you're doing this and you feel like you're just yabbing away with nothing in your head. All you're trying to do is talk with nothing in your head to say. And Aaron has this ability, and I really take my hat off to those that do this well, to talk and sound like they're really intelligent, even though there may well be nothing in their head at that precise moment. So,
can I ask another question or throw another thing in?
Go ahead.
Go for it, mate.
Would you send Cresswell back in January and bring Alex Mitchell back from St Johnstone?
No.
Why not?
That was quick. That was
quick, Neil.
That was.
You want me to tell you why? Because
please.
I think Alex Mitchell would be better off getting a full season in Scotland rather than coming back to Millwall and making up the numbers and being sat on the bench and maybe getting 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there. That's my thinking behind it. Yeah, well, fair enough. If you want to send Cresswell back, I don't think
it'll be us sending Cresswell back, though, Neil.
Yeah, no, I think it will be because there's no recall clause. We get
is that right?
If we don't play him.
There's an emergency recall clause by them, I think, isn't it? I think they can call him back if they need him.
That's what I would do. Yeah, well, that would be my personal thing. Would be I wouldn't recall Mitchell. I think it would do Mitchell better spending a full season in the third world.
Well, things got really bad. You can send him down to Plymouth.
Well, depends if we're going to play Cresswell, though, Neil, doesn't it? I mean, I don't. At the moment, we've got him for a back four.
Centre forward.
No, but at the moment, unless there's something radical that goes on, we're going to be sticking with this back four of Danny Mack, Murray Wallace, and the old favourites of Jake and Sean Hutchins in the middle. Now, unless injuries come into matters, that's probably going to be our first choice back four. Certainly, if results continue to, however they come, however scratchy they come, if we carry on winning or getting draws with that back four, I don't see a place for Cresswell. So,
but it's very interesting that he wouldn't put Cresswell on the bench for the last couple of weeks because he said he doesn't fit into the formation. So would Alex Mitchell be the same? Would he not be on the bench?
I was thinking more in terms of injuries. I mean, Hutchinson has become very injury prone, and Wallace has not had a great season. So we're quite low, aren't we? Really on that in that area. Leonard as well is another one who can play there, but
but the thing is, though,
forgetting about the magnificence of George Evans, my dear man.
Well, I've tried to forget about George Evans, Harry. If I'm absolutely,
I can't. He haunts my fucking sleep.
I think we had the professional voice, the superstar that is Aaron Paul. Aaron, are you out there, mate?
I am. I've just realised it doesn't actually work on desktop.
No, it doesn't.
No.
Yeah, so there you go. I conquered my technical issue.
Well, this is why it's been so confusing for me, listeners. It's all on my mobile phone. The screen's tiny. Oh, mate, how do you do this for a living, Aaron? I mean, this is.
We don't use mobile phones.
We don't use Twitter Spaces either.
Mate.
Professional. But what's everybody else think? Come on, about Mitchell.
My own view is I don't see I'll leave it open for everybody in a moment, but I don't think a place for Cresswell is open as long as that back four stays injury free, certainly in the centre. And Mitchell, I've not seen enough of him. I hear some very good reports about Mitchell, but is that good enough? I don't know. If the boy's developing and if he's looking okay, then I'd sooner have him back at Millwall to step in if injuries hit. But I'm open to other comment. What everyone else think?
Yeah, but couldn't you actually keep Murray Wallace, because you've actually got three left backs in effect. Murray Wallace can play there. Mm-hmm. You've got Scott Malone and Callum Styles that can go in at left back.
Yeah, and Evans can seriously play in the centre if we really get stuck. I know Harry's.
And Ryan Leonard can actually play in 2 or 3 positions if he gets over his ripped hamstring or whatever he's got at the moment.
Yeah. I just think that Cresswell, I just don't see where he's fitting in at the moment, because unless Gary Rowett decides that the back four is going to go back on the road, not away from the road from Damascus and back to the old one, and bring back the 3-man central defenders, because that's the only way that Cresswell really fits in.
I'd quite like to see Cresswell in a flat back four, actually. I think that was half of the problem.
Just on a side note, Harry was talking about Rowett potentially going to West Brom. From what I understand, that Carlos Corberán, the former Huddersfield manager, is their number one target, and he's in conversation with them at the moment. So,
right.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, God. Yeah, no, Harry...
thanks, mate. Thanks.
Turn your engine off, Harry.
It's all right. We can... go again. There'll be another load of Midlands jobs that will come available.
We've been slating Gary Rowett one way and the other, for good reason, some might say. But there are positives, because we do have players. I'm talking about Zian Fleming. I'm actually talking about Andreas Vogelsammer as well up front, who I think looks really promising if he's played correctly. I mean, the shot on the guy is a really powerful shot from distance. We've seen it a few times whenever he's taken the field. We saw it Saturday.
Bradshaw missed that on Saturday. But it was easier to score than miss, wasn't it?
I don't know. I'm not sure that Bradshaw he works hard, but he's not good enough.
He's a pressing forward in the modern style, isn't he? He sort of is there to run at defenders and tire them out before someone better comes on and finishes. That's kind of his role at the club. Which I think he tries. You can't turn around and say he doesn't.
He don't. No. He's
quite unlucky in the sense that he scores goals in bunches when he scores, and then inevitably gets injured and stops his run, and then seems to take a long time to get sort of match fitness and match sharpness. Well, at least it does for me.
He's bloody tried me in the last 2 games, I must admit.
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather play Bradshaw than Benica Fumble, but there we go.
Oh, God.
Career in journalism beckons for you, Harry, with those kinds of puns,
God
mate.
Almighty.
Oh dear, I don't know.
Where's the lawyer? Yeah, but is he still in?
Yeah, I'm still here, but
thank God for that.
Would you rather play the Benica Phobe?
Benica Fumble. No, it's. Oh no.
I don't know. I think Benicophobe. I'm going to get that name in my head now. Benicophobe. I think he remains our first choice striker. Although I would like to see Vogelsam given a go in that central role.
Absolutely.
Because he just looks the most dangerous striker we've got in terms of willingness to have a go from distance. I mean, Fleming's great talent also is the confidence to take on risky shots that might balloon or go and hit the corner flag, but the willingness to keep at it and keep taking on these spectacular moments, I think it speaks volumes for the boys. I think he's a potential star. Someone said to me in a private message the other day, he won't be at Millwall for long because we'll sell him.
No, that's right. That's right. End of the season, he'll be on his way. He'll be on his way to some Premier League promoted club, and about 15, 20 million if you get sort of 10, 15 goals. You just
but that's the thing. We cannot afford to hang on to him.
No, Savile went for what, £8 million off 10 goals, didn't he? Was that it to Middlesbrough? So
we cannot afford to hang on to him like we did with Judas Jed.
He's still going to, you know what, they're still going to finish in front of us. I love how everyone's like going, oh yeah, look at them, they're terrible. They're still going to finish in front of us.
Yeah, no, I don't mind what he's done. He's done what he's done for his long-term future. I don't begrudge him that. I just begrudge the way that they went about it. They could actually have said a long time before, yeah, he's going, and I would have said, yeah, fair enough.
Oh, you mean Jed Wallace could have said that, or his people?
I wonder if Jed wanted to say it and Gary Rowett didn't want to let him say it. Old PR gal, anything for a bit of 5 minutes on Sky to chat shit. Is exactly what he wants.
Come off the page.
Oh dear.
I think I still think it's a travesty that you have to pay to listen to his interview. I think if you sat through 90 minutes of a 0-0 draw on a Tuesday night in the middle of winter and you have to pay to listen to your manager's faults of why the back five was fire and ice, as he called it. I think it's a bit of a slap in the face.
Yeah, well, you're paying it because he said fire and ice.
Yeah, that's dear. It. Yeah, a song of mediocrity by Gary Rowley.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's been an experience doing this live radio malarkey. Aaron, I don't know how you do it for a living. I know you have a production crew and proper gear, and you're not doing it on your mobile phone. But oh, blimey!
If anybody's got a point to make. Yeah, well, just send us a message. I think there's a message function in the bottom, isn't there?
Well, I've slowly but surely stumbled around the commands of this thing as the call's gone along. So I'm hoping that it's not quite as chaotic as it might have started out. It's great to have everyone that's joined the call.
Yeah, thanks, Nick.
And bring a little bit of professional direction, because we actually did just do this as a tester. With no notes, no nothing, no discussion points. Just like Neil and I were going to just give it a try and see what happens, and then suddenly we had an audience. So I think it's probably time to wrap it up, boys. So I just want to say thank you to everyone for joining this chaotic experience tonight.
Put out as a podcast, Nick.
Yeah, I'm going to edit it because again, this is a tryout. The intention was that Neil and I were going to do our something for the weekend show. We might do it Thursday night, but I want to prep for it, and I want to have something that we can look at while we're talking, and I want to try and restrict the number of speakers all at once, because that's another thing that I did. I allowed everyone to talk, but I think it wasn't too chaotic in the end. So I just want to say thank you to everybody, and I think it's probably time to say Arrivederci Millwall. What do you think, chaps?
And bye for now.
Bye for now. Thanks, Nick. And I despite the anarchy, I really enjoyed it.
Thank you very much. Cheers, Dave. Mate. Thank you, H. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you.
All right.
All the best. Bye-bye.
Cheers, everyone.
Achtung, Millwall.